Nana Shastra Vicharanaika Nipuno Saddharma Samstapako Lokanam Hitakarino Tribhuvane Manyo Saranya Karo Radha Krishna Padaravinda Bhajana Nande Namataliko Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghuyugo Shri Jiva Gopalako Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghuyugo Shri Jiva Gopalako. And the translation, I offer my respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis, namely Shri Rupa Goswami, Shri Sanatan Goswami, Shri Jiva Goswami, and Shri Gopal Bhatta Goswami, who are very expert in scrutinizingly studying all the revealed scriptures with the aim of establishing eternal religious principles for the benefit of all human beings. Thus they are honored all over the three worlds, and they are worth taking shelter of because they are absorbed in the mood of the gopis and are engaged in the transcendental loving service of Radha and Krishna. Srila Rupa Goswami pranams mantra. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jana Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam. When will Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, who has established within this material world the mission to fulfill the desire of Lord Chaitanya, give me shelter under his lotus feet? So in text number 1, we have covered how to recognize a qualified spiritual master. And in text number 2, it enters us into how to prevent a spiritual fall down with the help of the spiritual master. Text number 3 helps us to understand how to make spiritual advancement. And this text today, text number 4, is going to help us how to experience love amongst devotees, which we're all hankering for. So we can all get to text number 4 in our textbooks, and we can say the text together. Tadati pratigrinati goyam akyati prikshati bhungte boja yate cheva sad vidham pritilakshanam. And the translation and the purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Brhat Swami, Srila Prabhupada. Offering gifts in charity, accepting charitable gifts, revealing one's mind in confidence, inquiring confidentially, accepting prasad, and offering prasad are the 6 symptoms of love shared by one devotee and another. Omajnana timirandasya gyananjana shalakaya chakshurun militam yena tasmai shri guruve namaha. Shri Chaitanya manobhistam stapitam jena bhutale swayam rupa kadamayam tadati swapadantikam vanchakalpa tarubhyascha Kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanabhyo Vaishnavabhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. It's a beautiful verse in the sense of the absolute nature of one's consciousness, which is called actually Krishna Prema. So in the particular verse, the last two words are called Priti Lakshana. Excuse me. Priti means love, and Lakshana means symptoms of that love that are shared between devotees. So, the love of devotees amongst the devotees is actually a Krishna Prema. So one may sometimes, question, when will I develop my prema or love for Radha and Krishna, Krishna Prema? When will that day come? Well, we should be confident that that is already amongst us. We are experiencing Krishna Prema. Priti Lakshana. Nice example can be given of a father. And the father sees that the sons and daughters have deep love and affection for each other. In other words, they have this sense of exchanges, offering gifts, accepting gifts, revealing one's mind and heart in confidence, inquiring confidentially, and offering prasadam and accepting prasadam. If that is amongst the family members, like the sons and daughters and the grandchildren and so forth, then the father is always pleased. He's always pleased. In other words, if you try to please the father in terms of Krishna, the Supreme Father, Krishna Prema, and if it's restricted just to pleasing the father, which is Krishna, but if there's no affectionate dealings and love and reciprocations between the sons and the daughters, then the father is not pleased. So therefore it cannot be Krishna Prema. If you just love Krishna and Srimati Radharani and serve them. But when we serve each other as the greatest spiritual family, as sons and daughters or grandsons and granddaughters and uncles and aunts, in the Achyutya Gotra, family of Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that is called actually Krishna Prema, where Krishna is pleased and Krishna is loved through the loving dealings of one's children to the father, of the sons and daughters and other members of the family. Now, in contrary to that, if one intimately associates with those who are not devotees, save and except in giving association, that kind of association may affect one very subtly. And His Holiness Bhakti Swami gave the example of how the devotees may be using like the bathrooms for hot water, and so forth of the tenants when they were staying in Juhu. And Srila Prabhupada warned the devotees about that, just using somebody else's bathroom who's not a devotee, could, of course, there's situations when you go to the airport and you have to use the bathroom, that's a little different, but we're talking about in general, even like using somebody else's bathroom was not a devotee. That is association. It could be very, very subtle. So therefore, one's desires and one's thoughts for ambitiousness develop according to the company one keeps, and it's very, very subtle. So therefore, these 6 loving exchanges between devotees, which are symptoms of prema, Krishna prema, is most important to actually develop and cherish and nourish, amongst the association of devotees. So Krishna Prema Pradayaka Prabhu, can you put on slide number 49, which will take us to the first 2 exchanges reciprocally. Tadati pratigrinati. That means offering gifts in charity and accepting charitable gifts. And Srila Prabhupada points out 2 ways of doing that. Well, there are many ways, but the 2 principal ways in relation to direct Krishna consciousness. Contributing or distributing the holy name of the Lord is a sublime example of contributing or giving charity, the Dadati principle. By the same token, one must also follow the Pratigrinati principle and be willing and ready to receive the transcendental gift. You can put me back onto the screen. Yes. Now, we have to remember that there's no real mention here about, in the translation itself, about one's instructing guru and one's initiating guru, the spiritual masters. It speaks about devotees in general, which also includes one's instructing spiritual masters and one initiating spiritual master. But it definitely focuses on devotees in general in this particular verse in terms of Priti Lakshana, symptoms of love shared amongst devotees. Now, out of all the gifts that one can offer, and out of all the gifts that one may receive, the supreme gift is the gift of the holy name, both offering it and receiving it. It's the supreme gift. In other words, one may receive other types of gifts which should be there, in terms of like clothing, in terms of Lakshmi, or in terms of, offering somebody a car or a home, like that. See? But those gifts must support this principal gift of the gift of distributing and receiving the holy names, which is the supreme gift. In other words, that gift is the best gift throughout one's life and also determining one's last consciousness at the time of leaving this body, the holy names. So we can consider like that if one is there and everyone has notice, including the person on the bed, that any time that person on the bed may leave in the next few days or few weeks or few hours. See? Now, would you offer a gift that is anything other than the holy name to that person at the time of leaving the body? See? You can offer the gift of your association by chanting the holy name for them. And the person on that bed who may leave in a few hours or few days or few weeks, may accept that transcendental gift in that consciousness. So there's no better gift that is supreme than the gift of offering the holy name and then the gift of accepting the holy name, whether it's in kirtan or whether it's in japa or in any other ways. So this is the most transcendental gift that is given to us in paragraph 3 within the purport itself. So put the same slide back onto the screen. 43. Now slide 49. Then below that it says, according to the Dadati principle, an advanced devotee is supposed to spend at least 50% of his income on the service of the Lord and his devotees. So you can note that the word is called an advanced devotee. Only an advanced devotee with such faith and realization is able to do this. Okay. So put me back onto the screen. This is towards the end of the purport. And Srila Prabhupada nicely says there that 25% of one's income is kept for emergencies, 25% is kept for maintenance, and 50% is given for the service of the Lord and for the service of the devotees. Should be. Doesn't say must. Should be. I'll just read that for you. It's a nice thing. It's in paragraph number 7 towards the end of the book. And it's about like halfway down in that paragraph. According to the Dadati principle, an advanced devotee is supposed to spend at least 50% of his income on the service of the Lord and his devotees. Srila Rupa Goswami has set such an example in his life. When he decided to retire, he distributed 50% of his life's earning to Krishna's service and 25% to his relatives, and he kept 25% for personal emergencies. I just want to say something at this point, that Srila Rupa Goswami was not in a position to spend his income every day and every month in his Leela. But he knew that he's meant to give 50%. So on his retirement from the government service of the Muslim ruler at that time, he gave 50% away. However, Srila Prabhupada continues to say, this example should be followed by all devotees. Whatever one's income means monthly, at least, or weekly if you're getting a wage. Monthly means a salary. So that's a little different from Rupa Goswami, who was not in a position to actually give because he was working for the Muslim ruler. Whatever one's income, 50% should be spent on behalf of Krishna and his devotees, and this will fulfill the demands of the Dati, means offering gifts in charity and accepting charitable gifts. So practically for us, it is monthly in terms of the income that we receive. Nice. So we can take some questions of offering the gift of the holy name and receiving the gift of the holy name, or offering 50% of one's income and receiving and if you offer that in the service of the devotees and Krishna, and you get this association of the devotees in return. Actually, it's actually very easy to give money, but it's more difficult to give your time and energy and intelligence. But it's very easy to give money. I'll give you the money, just do the service like that. But it's difficult to give time for practical service. But part of practical service is also offer one's Lakshmi from one's income. All right, any questions, any comments? Tadati pratigrinati guyamakyati prachiti. Tadati pratigrinati. Any thoughts?
Vaishnava Kripa Prabhu has a question.
Okay, Vaishnav Kripa Prabhu, come onto the screen.
I would like to pay my respects to you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Tell me.
This is regarding the contribution from my work. Suppose give 50%. But yes, Maharaj, it's very true. I've read this many times and I've heard this many times. But to give 50%, I can decide. But I have another half, my children. They will not be so prepared to give 50%. How do I deal with that matter? Once I did for a few months, give 50%. But later there's a lot of problems from the family. She's also by the side of me. So there's no hiding anything, Maharaj. I just like to know from your opinion. I'm working. I'm quite old, Maharaj. One of my daughters is still studying. So these are the problems, Maharaj. How much can I contribute? How much will be fair to say I'm okay?
Very practical question. Let me give why one has to contribute. In other words, if I give you the reasons why one has to contribute, slowly you can start with 5%, 10%, 15%, 20%, like that. See? In the beginning stages, when the children are younger and so forth, there may be more demands of sending them for special tuition and so many other things. But as you grow up and your own children are responsible and have their own income, then it's easier maybe to give your 50%. But let me explain why you have to give it, having said that. You see, anything that we do in the material world, either directly or indirectly, it does not matter. 1 second. It does not really matter. Say for example, one may claim, but Maharaj, I'm just a school teacher. So I don't work in a place where there's meat eating, intoxication, illicit sex, and gambling. So my money is clean. That's not true. The salary that you receive from the government as a school teacher is coming from taxes that these other people pay by manufacturing and selling that stuff, like intoxication and other things. So every penny or farthing that one earns in the material world has contamination to it. And when you receive monies as an income for your salary, it is actually a contamination, because we work in the material world, and work means, another meaning of karma means to work, is to be action, to be involved in action. So that Lakshmi has to be purified, that one receives from so many types of works in the material world. It has to become purified. And that purification is given in this purpose of actually trying, one should, not must, one should try to contribute as much as one can for the service of the Lord Krishna and for the service of the devotees, or for that matter in spreading Krishna consciousness. So that's the main reason. Now, when one actually does that, then one is actually making spiritual advancement, and that's the real wealth. Not parting with one's 50%. The real wealth is the wealth of Krishna consciousness. So to attract the wealth of Krishna prema, one may give some hard-earned wealth in from one's income towards that, and one receives that, and then one makes advancement. So therefore, Prabhupada mentions an advanced devotee is supposed to give at least 50%, if not more. At least means 50%, could be 60%, 70%. See? Now, that is really not the decision of the family members. You cannot say it's a decision of my wife and children. That's not part of the culture. That's part of demands for them, for their own sense gratification. So one has to be firm on this point. If one is actually wants to make spiritual advancement, one has to be firm on this point. However, if the children and the wife are telling you that, look, you cannot really give so much towards Krishna consciousness to the devotees and the temple and so forth, because we need things at home. Yes, that is a very practical thing from the children and from the wife and so forth, from the mother of the house. One should not give money in the name of not fulfilling one's proper duty as a father or as a husband at home. But those things that are sort of necessary for basic food, clothing, and shelter, and if that is demanded by the family members, then one should accordingly provide that as a responsible father and as a responsible husband. That should always be there. See? So therefore, in different ways, this can be categorized of how one should actually give one's 50% of income. Some devotees may calculate that after I have paid my bills for the electricity and for the car monthly installments and for other amenities to run the home, and after I've paid for all the schooling fees, including the private tuition for my family members, and after my wife is fully satisfied in getting what she deserves and needs for the household and for herself, including new clothing, if they buy every month, then if I have some money left over, even if it's, even if it's, $1 or 100 rupees or 50 ringgit, then divide that. In principle, divide that and give to, give for the service of the devotees and for the service of the Lord and for service of spreading Krishna consciousness. So one can apply one's own formula according to one's needs. That must be satisfied first, of being responsible as a father and as a husband at home. One should actually do that. However, one should be careful that one devotee who earns an income of, say, 5,000 ringgit in Malaysia, a month, he may be able to give more than another devotee who earns, say, 2,000 ringgits a month. In terms of like the, you could say, amount that is given. But if somebody is earning very little and still gives 50%, that's an advanced devotee. But if somebody is earning much more and gives less than 50%, in the amount, then one is still not, coming to the point of purifying oneself of earning that money, as well as trying to make spiritual advancement. So these two things are there also for some considerations in that way. So one should be careful. At the same time, in practical ways, maybe in 1 month as a businessman, one may make more profit. And in another month as a businessman, one may make less profit. So still accordingly, one can give a percentage, which is, at least 50%, if not a regular percentage of, say, 10, 15, or 20%. The percentage matters, not the amount itself. It may vary from month to month. And for example, in one's retirement time, when one doesn't need to, actually take care of the needs of the grown-up children who are now adults and probably even parents, they should contribute to the father. And then the father can even increase his percentage to give for the service of the devotees and for the service of Krishna and for the service of things that are necessary to be paid for in the local Hare Krishna temple or ISKCON temple that one attends. So these are some thoughts on this for now. Vaishnav Kripa Prabhu, any other thoughts on what I just said, or is it practical or not practical?
Very, thank you very much, Maharaj.
Yes. Now I'd like to say another thing on this basis, that sometimes devotees may have a problem. And the problem is that they may tell me, but Maharaj, I'd like to give to the local temple president and for the running of the local temple, but I really don't know how the money is being used by the management. So they may have that sense of excuse of not to give. See? But that should not be an excuse. One can give in other ways rather than giving the Lakshmi and not knowing how it's being used by the management. But that doesn't stop you from not giving to the local temple still. Because you take advantage of coming to the Sunday program. You take advantage of having beautiful darshan of the deities. You take advantage of being in the association of devotees. See? So how can one still give, not having faith of how the money is being used? Still one can give. So one can approach the management and say, look, you need flowers for the deities and you're paying for it. Okay, I will arrange for the flowers. You just pick it up and I will pay for it. Then you're using your money but still serving the temple. Okay, you're doing some renovations to the temple building. Okay, what materials you need? Construction materials you need. Yes, and you go there and you pick these construction materials up. Don't worry about paying for it. See? So in many ways, I just gave you two examples. In many ways, one can still contribute at least 50%, if not less or more, according to one's practical situation at home of being a responsible father and a responsible husband at least. So there should be no excuse whatsoever. No excuse whatsoever. One should still give, if not in cash, but at least in kind, to the same value of so many percent of giving monthly from one's income towards the service of the devotees and for the pleasure of Krishna. Other questions on this?
No, Maharaj, that's all for now.
Oh. So in the purport in the 7th canto, in the 13th chapter, in text number 32, Srila Prabhupada says something wonderful. When one is not attached to anything, but at the same time accepts everything in relationship to Krishna, then one is properly situated above feelings of possessiveness. Possessiveness means that I am attached to what I have based on the result of my hard work, which means like working and earning some money as an income. So therefore that money belongs to me and I possess it. See? That is true. We cannot, force somebody to give a donation or part of the income, in Krishna consciousness. We cannot do that. See? But Prabhupada also says, for those who are receiving that money, that it is undoubtedly coming in great quantities. And one should not be attached to using that money one receives for sense gratification. Prabhupada says every cent should be spent for spreading Krishna consciousness and not for sense gratification. So then Prabhupada says that there is a danger, for a preacher who receives such a money, like the devotees who are living in the ashrams and preaching. There is a danger that when one receives a lot of money, and as soon as he spends even a single cent of that money or Lakshmi or that collection for his personal sense gratification, then that person, that preacher, becomes a fallen victim immediately. So therefore, Prabhupada sort of cautions that the preachers of the Krishna consciousness movement should be extremely careful not to misuse the immense quantities of money that are needed to spread this movement. And Srila Prabhupada also says, let us not make this money the cause of our fall down and distress and anxiety. And it should be used for Krishna. And that will become the cause of our eternal happiness and pleasure for Krishna in Krishna consciousness. We will feel the bliss of Krishna consciousness. And then Prabhupada nicely concludes in that purport that money is Lakshmi, or the goddess of fortune. And it should always be used in the service of Narayan. So therefore Lakshmi Narayan. And Lakshmi Ji will always remain with Narayan. And therefore there's no fear of falling down or degradation. So similarly, money should always be used in the service of Krishna, which is the form of Srimati Radharani, to give pleasure to Krishna. And she's the principal goddess of fortune, from which all other goddesses of fortune expand from. Any other questions or comments before I move on?
Question from Sita Thakurani Mataji.
Yes, Sita, tell us.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
I have three questions on this topic. First of all, as a wife, how I can give contribution to the temple? How I can give donation?
Okay. Put me back onto the screen. It doesn't matter whether you're the wife or not the wife. Whoever is earning an income should contribute the 50%. At least or less according to the practical situation at home. But if the wife or the mother of the home is not working and not earning an income, her contribution is through those at home, like the father who gives the donation. She doesn't need to give any income because she's not earning an income. But if she's working and earning something, then she should also give. What's your next question?
So, as if we want to give donation, it should be first to the local temple and then to the devotees.
Practical question. Yes. You can give a donation or part of an income, basically wherever it's needed or necessary. And every temple depends on donations. But if you're connected to a local temple who's nourishing your bhakti, who's nourishing your devotional service, by them giving you Mahaprasad, by offering you the chance of associating with other devotees, by giving you such beautiful darshan of the deities, and also offering you the association in the form of chanting the holy name, then one is obligated to give that donation to the local temple. See? One should not fall into the trap of feeling, maybe I should give a donation to that particular temple because it is sort of developed by my Guru Maharaj. And because you think that the donation is going to one's Guru Maharaj's temple, you don't question how it's being used because you have faith. But then you'll question in all ways, one will question in all ways how they are using that money if I give in the local temple because it's not part of your Guru Maharaj's domain. That's not fair. Every temple in ISKCON actually belongs to Srila Prabhupada. So we should have that broad-heartedness and actually knowing that you are receiving spiritual nutrition and growth in your devotional service from your local temple more than any other temple. So it's nice to actually contribute more of your income to the local temple where you are getting nice sangha, association, and other things in terms of the practical, practical application or practical practice of devotional service, which is called sadhana bhakti. Is that all right? What's your next question?
One more question. This is it's like in my case, I'm not going to the local. I'm not going to local ISKCON temple. I'm going to local temples in Jaipur.
Okay, so in your case, you are saying that the
Taking
local
any food.
ISKCON temple is not reachable for you every day
Right.
because of your location. And the local temple, which is like a bona fide temple, Sri Sri Radha Govindaji, is
Yes.
there. Yes. However, your obligation in terms of gratitude is originally coming from ISKCON,
Right. Yeah.
not from that particular local temple. It's not that you don't give any donation in the hundi and so forth. You can do that, but you can still reach out to the other local temple that you may visit for Janmashtami. Or Guru Purnima, on the major festival days, you'll go to an ISKCON temple because our festivals are unique. Are unique. It's actually the best in the world in terms of temples in general. Yeah. Then you can contribute to that local temple. Our ISKCON local temple or temples in the Jaipur area. Is that all right? But because you may not be working, you'll have to ask the Lakshmi from your good husband, Father.
Yes.
Advaita Prabhu. Okay. Any other questions?
There's a question from Puk Weng Chong Prabhu.
Yes, come on. Puk Weng Chong Prabhu, come on the screen.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. Tell me.
Yes, Maharaj, regarding this offering, since everything belongs to Krishna, of course, I think it's if possible, I give everything because it's not mine, it belongs to him. Another thing is that since,
Nice.
yeah, can you hear me, Maharaj?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, since everything belongs to him, I'm wondering, what can I offer? Did my offering really an offering to Krishna? Since everything belongs to him?
Yes, it's a nice question.
Can you please
Nice.
enlighten me on this thing?
Yes. There are two answers to your question. One is that Srila Prabhupada said of his own disciples who were living in the ashram, in temples. So at one point when there was a group of initiates, devotees initiated by Srila Prabhupada, the next day they came to offer Srila Prabhupada Guru Dakshin. And the Guru Dakshin, one devotee offered was some fruits because they were living in the temple with Srila Prabhupada. Another devotee offered some cloth. Another devotee offered some dollars, which he received from his parents, not his own money. And another devotee, just offered some grains or something like that, whatever they could get, because they were not receiving any income from anyone. So Srila Prabhupada said, your actual Guru Dakshin is that you have given me your life. And because you've given me your life, it is my duty as your father, spiritual father, to supply you all the basic needs for you to continue to serve the Father and serve Krishna. So you have given me your life. So you have not given just at least 50%, Srila Prabhupada said. You have given 108, 100% or more. You've given your life. See? So that's one answer. The other answer is that what can we give Krishna when everything belongs to Krishna? This is just what you said in your question. That is also true. That is also true. So if we have that realization, then you make your home a temple. And you offer your home and you offer your family members all to Krishna. So instead of being a griha, a home, it becomes a mandir. And man means consciousness or mentality, and dira means sober. Yes. So if you offer your whole home to Krishna, because everything belongs to Krishna, it is like sometimes Srila Prabhupada gives various examples of, to answer your question. It's like, the father, is providing everything for the child. And sometimes the child may receive, say, some sweet, which is actually received from the mother. But the person who supplied the sweet is the father, or the ingredients to make the sweet. In fact. So then the mother gives the sweet to the child. And the child takes the sweet to the father. And the child says, Papa, please take one bite. And then the father bites. But who has supplied the sweet? The father, through the agency of the mother. But how come the child is offering back to the father, and the father is not saying, look, I can give you 200 sweets. Why are you just giving me one sweet just to have one bite? The father never says that. Father never says that. So similarly, everything belongs to Krishna. But just that the child is affectionately offering the father to bite the sweet and then take it. Similarly, everything belongs to Krishna, but when we offer to Krishna out of affection, what actually still belongs to him, that's what Krishna is anchoring for. Krishna is anchoring for our affection, our devotion, and our service. Another beautiful example is given that, you take Ganga water from the Ganges, and in worshipping the Ganges, you offer the water back to the Ganges. It's like offering Ganges water or Ganga water back to the Ganga. But that's an offering of, you could say, worship. That's an offering of affection. That can only be done until one fully realizes that everything belongs to Krishna. There's nothing that I can really offer to Krishna, but I can only offer my devotion, my affection, and that's what Krishna is anchoring for. Okay? So therefore, this beautiful verse in the Bhagavad Gita, Patram Pushpam Palam Toyam Yome Bhakti Prayachati Tadam Bhakti Uparitam Asnami Prayatat Manaha. So here Krishna says, you simply offer me a leaf, fruit, flower, or water. But the actual ingredient is wood devotion. So therefore the word bhakti is used twice in this verse. That is the actual ingredient, not the flower, fruit, or water in other themselves. But that always also belongs to Krishna. So what we offer our devotion in offering bhoga to Krishna, that becomes prasada. All right, is that okay, Feng Wang?
Yes,
Right.
it's amazing.
Okay. You have any other questions? Anyone else?
Rajesh Agrawal have a question.
Oh, no, he's from Mumbai. His name is
Raseshwar Das.
Ishwar Prabhu, yeah.
Okay.
And
Hare Krishna.
Ladli Radha. Ladli Radha Mataji is his good wife. Rasheshwar, ask me a question. Come on. Come onto the screen.
Hare Krishna Maharaj,
Hare Krishna. How are
accept my
you?
humble obeisance. I am very fine, Maharaj.
Glories to Prabhupada. Tell me.
Maharaj, I just want to know, like this understanding of 50% we come to know, like before few years. But over the period, suppose I earn money,
Mhm.
okay, so should I calculate overall my balance sheet by understanding that point of 50%? Like suppose I come to school in 2003, but I am earning before that.
Now, from the that's a nice question. In other words, from the time that you come to practice Krishna consciousness and sadhana bhakti in the association of devotees, then you can gradually develop giving your, 2%, 5%, 10%, 50%. But there may be profits from the business that you may have done before coming to Krishna consciousness.
Yes, Maharaj.
And those profits are money at hand after you may have already taken care of the needs of your children and the mother in the home, your wife. So those profits, may be quite a bit. And then, Prabhupada used to say in a purport in the Bhagavad Gita that, our Krishna consciousness movement needs land and capital, for building projects. See?
Okay.
So then you may know there's a need in the local Hare Krishna temple, that there's a need for, some capital expenditure, which is not like a regular monthly income, which you may have at hand before you join by making profit in the business. So you can see it, and usually, the temples they may say what they need it for. See, like for example, if they need something and you have some capital expenditure, but if you give your Lakshmi for them to buy, say, marble tiles,
Okay, Maharaj.
you know, but if they buy the marble tiles, they're going to pay more. But because you as a businessman deals with marble tiles, you can pay less and you'll get more out of your money that you have as a profit from previously coming to Krishna consciousness, and you can give the temple the tiles as a capital expenditure. Because sometimes when you give money as a capital expenditure, when the temple spends it, they may not be so experienced in doing business with other people to buy, say, construction materials, but you may be more experienced. So you can use your money more and get more construction materials yourself rather than giving the money to the temple for the capital expenditure. I'm just giving you an example.
Yes,
Because
Maharaj.
I know you deal with marble and marble tiles. I'm just giving a principle based on a practical example for you. Yeah. Very important.
And one more question, Maharaj. Yeah.
Yes, please tell me,
Maharaj.
come onto the screen.
Yeah. Maharaj, so while giving this Lakshmi, so it should be our decision or should we take guidance from authority? Like higher authority, like our Guru Maharaj or our Diksha Guru.
Yes, you can take guidance from anybody, but ultimately the giving is you going to give. So ultimately it's your actual, you could say, it's like this. There's no force in the process of devotional service or bhakti. Nobody can force you to give. See? But you can take sort of a recommendation or advice from one's, Diksha Guru, Shiksha Guru, and other mentors that help you in spiritual life. And they may guide you in how to give and when to give and where to give. But ultimately, you also have your own, you could say, independence to use and not misuse of how you want to offer that. Ultimately, you have to give
Yes,
as a
Maharaj.
devotee, but based on some guidance, that's fine. That's fine based on some guidance. Like, for example, if you go to the local Hare Krishna temple and you know that they are really struggling for boga, even for the deities or for the devotees to eat. But then, if one of your, you could say, spiritual mentors, advises don't give to that temple, but give to the other temple. But that this temple is in need of it. Is in need of it. So ultimately, sometimes when you receive advice from others, that's fine. But ultimately, you have to make the decision. Maybe there's a more of a need here to give than there's a need in the other place. So then you make that decision and you explain to your spiritual mentors, Shiksha Guru and even Diksha Guru, that why you gave it. Nobody's going to stop you from doing that. Is that all right?
Yes, yes, Maharaj. This is
But
perfectly
at
all
the,
right.
but at the same time, Srila Prabhupada has warned us, like I'm a preacher. And as a preacher, I may receive money. But he has warned those who are receiving that money should not spend it for their sense gratification. Not even 1 cent should be misused. That is also there. Not with the one who's also giving, but the one who's also receiving. But if one is giving, and if somebody may not use it properly, don't worry, you still get the good full benefit of giving. That Krishna knows. You still get the full benefit of giving. That should not be stopped from the one who's giving. Is that all right?
Yes, Maharaj. This is perfectly
Okay.
all right.
Any other questions? Oh, we took almost an hour just on the Dati Pratigrinati.
No,
Nice.
Maharaj, that's all for now.
All right, so you can put on slide number 50 onto the screen. Now the next two reciprocations of love amongst devotees. Goyam akyati prichati, revealing one's mind or heart in confidence and inquiring confidentially. So Srila Prabhupada tells us in paragraph 1, an experienced devotee explains and an inexperienced devotee learns from him. And in paragraph 3, in the last two sentences, Srila Prabhupada says, one should inquire about the Krishna consciousness movement and open his mind in order to understand the situation of this material world. Thus, the Goyam Akyati Prichati principles can be served. So you will see in the first one, it says amongst devotees, like an experienced devotee and an beginning devotee, inexperienced devotee. In the second one, it says when we are preaching to people outside, like life members and new people and so forth, they should inquire from us about Krishna consciousness, and also they can open their mind to understand that material life can be a failure and it's miserable. So that's also Goyam Akyati Prichati principle. All right. Now for devotees, basically it indicates the verse. It's a beautiful verse that indicates about inquiry from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, text number 34. Tadvidi pranipatena pariprasnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadashinaha. So pariprasna, we should just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master and inquire from him submissively and render service unto the spiritual master. And the self-realized souls, which is one's Diksha Guru and one's Shiksha Guru, can impart the knowledge because they have realized the truth. And they're tattvadashis. So that's the first feature of Guyam Akyati Prichati, that one can inquire how to further advance in Krishna consciousness, from one's Shiksha gurus and one's Diksha guru. Very important. And in the purport, in paragraph 6, Srila Prabhupada cautions us that we should not disclose our mind, our internal state of consciousness, to Mayavadis or impersonalists or even to the non-devotees. Such a disclosure, Srila Prabhupada says, will never help. So therefore, it is best to avoid associating by revealing your mind in confidence, with Mayavadis and with non-devotees. And one should never ask them anything about confidential things also, because Prabhupada says they can never really give good or sound advice. They may even take you away from the practices of Krishna consciousness. So therefore, we should be careful not to extend even invitations to impersonalists or Mayavadis or even atheists. Because if you mingle too closely with them, we may become affected by the atheistic mentality. And Prabhupada said, Sangat Sanjayate Kama will be affected by material desires. Now, there's only one qualification, basically, that's needed in terms of Goyam Akyati Prichati. One's sincerity in one's heart, to be sincere of practicing Krishna consciousness. So one should be cautious and careful that one should not keep doubts in one's heart. If you keep doubts, that is the Tasta Shakti which we discussed in text, in text number 1 or 2. If you keep doubts in your heart, then you cannot make spiritual progress. So one should be very sincere and based on faith and relationship with one's spiritual mentors, including one's initiating spiritual master, Diksha Guru. One should be like kind of straightforward with oneself and open one's heart and clear all doubts. Must clear all doubts. Don't keep it to oneself. It's like a suffering in silence if you keep it to oneself. So one should not be afraid to sort of even ask a very simple question. Or even one should not be afraid to actually reveal one's shameful situation. Shameful means that one must have done something that's not favorable in Krishna consciousness. Don't feel ashamed. Reveal your heart and make spiritual progress. And don't regress back to that shameful acts like that. So expose one's doubts, expose one's difficulties and challenges, but expose it to persons that you have faith and relationship with. You trust them in that way. Also, we should be careful, and Prabhupada speaks a lot about receiving donations from people in the purport also. And when one is dealing with like a big person who's giving you a nice donation every month, one should be careful. And one should not be influenced by the donation of the person. But one should be a little bit more straightforward and deal with an open heart, not concerning so much, that the donation is more important than helping that person in Krishna consciousness. One should be careful for that by giving association and not taking association by being influenced by a big man or even a life member to influence you in his ways. So one should be careful for that. All right, so that is Guyam Akyati Prichati. It's a very important principle for feeling the affection and love of devotees, and also how devotees can help you to become relieved, of some mental stress or depression or anxiety. That's part of feeling love for devotees, to help devotees and also to be helped by devotees. Any questions on Goyam Akyati Prichati?
Sita Thakurani Mataji has a question.
Okay, Sita, tell me.
Can I unmute
Yes.
Vadivis?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
So
It's
suppose
nice you're asking many questions so everyone's benefiting. That's very nice.
I'm so sorry. So in case I reveal my mind to someone and in confidence, and if that thing is exposed to everybody,
Yes. What to do?
what to do?
Yes.
You lose faith in revealing your mind.
Yes, that's true. It's true. That's a natural consequence. That's true. Yes. So that happens to everyone. That happens even to GBC members. It happens even to one's mother and father. That happens to everyone. That even happens to me. See? So when you reveal your heart and your mind in confidence, you won't just reveal it to anyone, everyone, because you may have misjudged that I'm revealing my heart to this person because I have faith in this person and we have a close relationship. But you may have misjudged it from your perspective. From your perspective, you may have a close relationship. But from the other perspective, that person means, okay, Sita Thakurani feels that she's close to me, but she doesn't know I'm not that close to her. See, she may have misjudged the other person's side of the relationship. And that can happen where they may break confidentiality. See? So what to do? It doesn't stop us from the principle of Goyam Akyati Prichati. There will be persons, who are more advanced in their consciousness. And rather also there will be persons who may not be advanced in their consciousness, but they may be attached to you and you are attached to them, and they can keep confidentiality. Like for example, a mother may be a devotee, but a son who is an adult now may not be a practicing devotee, but is favorable to Krishna consciousness. So the mother may reveal a mind to somebody who's not advanced and may not even be practicing Krishna consciousness, and that happens to be her son. And the son will keep confidentiality because this is my mother. This is my mother. So in that sense, there's also Goyam Akyati Prichati. But the most, you could say, or the best secure situation would be to reveal your heart and mind in confidence to somebody who is actually a transparent medium. In other words, see what happens is that when you reveal your mind to somebody who breaks your confidentiality, that person didn't break the confidentiality. They just couldn't handle it in their own consciousness. So they had to speak to somebody else to take it out of their own mind and their own heart of what they may have heard from you. So it's not really breaking confidentiality. See? So therefore, when you reveal your heart in confidence to somebody, you make sure that person can handle that. Or that person is a transparent via medium. A transparent via medium is like a glass or a window that they can accept what you are telling them, that person, and also they may not be affected by it. So that's transparent via medium. So when they are not affected by it, but they can bring it to their memory to deal with it whenever it's necessary to deal with it. See? So that kind of person will not break confidentiality. It's actually a very advanced devotee. At the same time, there may be family members that you can reveal your heart and mind, but not that they will break confidentiality, and they may be practicing Krishna consciousness lesser than you are. That also could be there, or even close friends. But it is necessary not to disclose our hearts and minds to practically non-devotees who we don't know. It's very important. Sita, is that okay?
Just a small little inquiry on this. If I reveal my mind to my grown-up son, but he is not Krishna conscious, so how much I shall depend on him for his advice? How much I take it?
It's a nice topic. I cannot give you a general answer to your question because your challenge or situation may be different in terms of its detail. So if you're revealing your heart and your mind to your son, that's a very intimate relationship, but it may be a matter of not Krishna consciousness. It may be a family situation, maybe a job situation, or you just need someone to just talk to. And you don't expect any solution from that person, but you need to talk to somebody. So it could be your son who may not offer a proper solution, but by speaking to your son, you feel relieved. So it just depends on the details of what you're discussing in terms of revealing one's mind and heart and confidence. But when it comes to Krishna consciousness, it's better to reveal one's heart and mind and consciousness to advanced devotees who have a transparent consciousness in a way. And that will never be broken, that confidence. Goyam akyati prichati. Any questions? Any further questions?
So far, no, Maharaj.
No. All right. So now we go to slide 51. Bhungte bojayate cheva. Bhungte bojayate cheva. Nice. Accepting prasadam and offering prasadam. When a devotee distributes prasad, remnants of food offered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So note, the meaning of prasad means bhoga or remnants that is offered to Krishna by devotees. So when a devotee distributes prasad, remnants of food offered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in order to maintain our spirit of devotional service, we must accept this prasad as the Lord's grace received through the pure devotees. We should also invite pure devotees to our home, offer them prasad, and be prepared to please them in all respects. So you can put me back onto the screen. Yes. In paragraph 6, Srila Prabhupada cautions us not to eat food prepared by non-devotees. And there Srila Prabhupada quotes Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Vishayera ana kaile dusta hayamana. And Srila Prabhupada translates that as when one eats food prepared by worldly people, one's mind becomes wicked. It's a very strong word. One's mind becomes wicked. So one has to be very, very careful for this, of not eating food prepared by non-devotees, even if it's vegetarian without onions and garlic. And therefore, Srila Prabhupada, says that the purpose of ISKCON is to facilitate the 6 loving exchanges between devotees. In other words, he concludes that is the purpose of ISKCON. And that's Krishna Prema, love amongst devotees. So therefore, Krishna, the Supreme Father, is pleased when he sees his sons and daughters are affectionate with each other. So this is Bhungte Bojayate Cheva, accepting prasad and offering prasad. Now, I can take some questions for now about accepting prasad and offering prasad. Or comments? Because sometimes when I discuss something, if you ask a question, then it's more important. But if I discuss it and you spoon-fed, then it may not be thoughtful. Any questions on Bhungte Bojayate Cheva? offering prasad and accepting prasad. Anyone?
So far no one is asking Maharaj. Okay, Anjana
All right.
Gopika Mataji. She just raised her hand there.
Anjana Gopika, come onto the screen.
Okay. Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances.
Yes, of mine, all glories to Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. Tell me, Anjana.
Maharaj, how can we maintain the relationship with the senior devotees without familiarity? It's all the things when we are asking question or taking prasadam from them.
How can you maintain relationship with the senior devotees?
We just don't take as granted, and then maintain that family. I mean, we will not feel. I don't know.
Okay, I understand your question. I understand your question. It's a very important question. It is very important to also understand something else before I give you the answer to the question. Now, in a family, who is served the most and why? In a regular family. So I'll give you the answer. In a regular family, in a regular cultured family, of course, we should always serve the elders, like the grandparents and the parents and so forth. But in context to that, the person who is given the most attention and the most care and the most sensitivity in dealing with is the youngest child. Because the youngest child in a family is the least experienced and the least realized, including the situation in the material world. So one may have a tendency to serve those who are senior devotees or senior members of the family. But if we can cultivate serving the youngest members of the family, the youngest persons who are in Krishna consciousness, then it becomes easier to serve senior devotees. But if you just focus on the senior devotees to get their mercy, but you do not serve the youngest members of the family, then how the youngest members of the family are going to learn that when they become senior later, they should also serve the junior ones or the youngest members of the family. That is most important also. So now, you may not get a chance to serve senior devotees all the time, because I know Anjana Gopika, you are living in a place in the US where you don't live near a temple and where you don't get much senior association. So therefore, you may be asking this practical question of how to still keep touch with senior devotees. You can keep touch with senior devotees if somebody is going to the local temple away from you and they are on the way there. You may send them some nice, rasagullas or gulab jamuns or sundae sweets and offer it. That's how you can keep connection with them. And you can keep connection with them by the phone or by the email or by WhatsApp, whatever way you can communicate with them, maybe weekly. But at the same time, you can still serve those who are there for you in your own family or in the community. That means the younger devotees in your community, however few there may be. So in that way, we can serve always. Not that we just wait for senior devotees to serve them. We can also serve the youngest members of the family. Anjana Gopika, is that okay?
Yes, Maharaj. Yes. Thank you so much, Maharaj.
All right. So I'm going to move along and come to some conclusiveness for this beautiful text in text number 4. Very beautiful text of how to feel love, Krishna Prema, in the association of devotees. Tadati pratigrinati guyamakidi prichati punkte bojayati cheva. And that is sadvidi, pretty lakshana. It's pretty, it's love. amongst devotees in association of these actions of these 6 ways. So Srila Prabhupada also used to say that man is a social animal. And therefore, according to one's association, one molds one's own character. In other words, just as you have been influenced, you can also influence others. So we are always being influenced, and we are always influencing others by how we have been influenced. See? And Srila Prabhupada also gives example in the purport and in other places that like a businessman will associate with another businessman to develop their business qualities or business experience. So in a similar way, there may be different types of clubs or association that is formed, and that brings about bondage to a particular field and to a particular type of consciousness of the members of that club. It creates a bond, a bondage amongst them. So therefore, if one associates with materialistic people and not to take association, not give, then one's bondage to sense gratification becomes more pronounced and one may fall down. So we should have a bondage to be bound, in the association of devotees. And that bondage is best for us by enacting or engaging in these 6 loving exchanges amongst devotees. And Srila Prabhupada says wonderfully in the purport of how we give association to others who may not be necessarily practicing Krishna consciousness. We offer our Sunday feast program, we offer festivals, we offer Harinam, we offer prasadam in prasadam distribution, we offer through book distribution and also through the life membership program. So these are different ways that we can focus on giving association and not taking association, which is the dati pratigrinati, by giving Krishna consciousness to others. So if there's one more question before I conclude, I can take now. We have a few minutes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. So there's a question written in the Zoom group chat to me from
Yes.
from
That
Padmanabha.
means it's probably beyond the number of devotees who are on the Zoom, because there's some connection to another link to other devotees. So sometimes they'll write like that. So tell us the question.
Yes, so it's from a Prabhu named Padmanabha. So he says, Hare Krishna Maharaj, what if a devotee treats another devotee very well with special services due to his amount of donation for festivals like Janmashtami? But I'm very poor, I can only give time and service.
All right, so I'll repeat the question. So the question is being asked that somebody who gives more Lakshmi or donation to the temple is treated better by, say, other devotees than somebody who doesn't give so much of donations to the temple. Is that the gist of the question?
Yes, Maharaj, yes.
Now, it is a fact that, that we need money. We need money. So it's possible that, the donor, or even if it's not a devotee, or even the donor who is a devotee, but a big donor at that, as a devotee donor, may get some special, you could say, mention, or may get some special gifts from the temple. See? Why is that? It's a very simple answer. Because they need it more to advance in their Krishna consciousness. Whereas somebody who is giving their energy and time, and maybe not so much donation, but giving more of their practical time to engage in devotional service, they experience more bliss because they are satisfied with the service itself. They are fully satisfied with the service itself. Tushti pushti shuddhapayo anugas. In other words, they are completely nourished, and they are completely, tusti, and pushti. Pushti means to be nourished, and tushti means they are completely satisfied. So they don't need any appreciation. They don't need any gifts to inspire them to give more or to give regularly. No. This devotional service itself is the greatest gift. The service itself is the greatest wealth of a devotee. So somebody who receives appreciation and receives gifts, it may be necessary to reciprocate for them in that way, because to keep them connected to Krishna consciousness, to keep them connected to devotees. And eventually, when they get more and more connected, even the big donors, even the big devotee donor, when they become more and more connected, then they themselves will feel, now my giving is my greatest pleasure. I don't need anything in return, because they need to become more purified in that sense. So you can ask the devotee whether he is satisfied with the answer. Who asked the question?
Padmanabha Prabhu.
Padmanabha Prabhu, are you satisfied with the answer?
Reply, thank you.
Okay, good. So in slide number 54, in conclusion to text number 4, put it on the screen, slide number 52. So yeah, in conclusion to text number 4, the life of the Krishna conscious society is nourished, tushti pushti shuddhapayo, is nourished by these 6 types of loving exchange amongst the members. Therefore, people must be given the chance to associate with the devotees of ISKCON, because simply by reciprocating in the 6 ways mentioned above, an ordinary man can fully revive his dormant Krishna consciousness. So put me back onto the screen. So yes, Srila Prabhupada is very clear that we can nourish each other as devotees. And that consciousness, when it reaches those who are not devotees, they become very nourished themselves. But we have to be feeling nourished ourselves to offer this nourishment in Krishna consciousness to others to come to Krishna consciousness and practice Krishna consciousness. Thank you very much. We look forward to your nice association again tomorrow at the same time. Srila Prabhupada ki,
Jai.
Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada ki,
Jai.
Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki,
Jai.
Nectar of instruction ki,
Jai.
ki,
Jai.
Nitai Nande, Hari
Hari
Hari.
Hari Bol.
Hare